that opposes him, the killing of his own people in the streets who oppose him, his tactics, and basically his dictatorship. And so we have sanctions, and they can't get the equipment and all that they need to drill into the Arctic. But Mr. Trump told them if he's elected, he will lift those sanctions. That's why he won't criticize them. They are tied to each other by the hips. They're in bed with each other about oil. And so you won't hear this president criticize Putin. As a matter of fact, he'll defend him. He said he was one of the greatest presidents that history has ever seen. And so now what we're finding is, it's not only this president's commitment to lifting the sanctions and his relationship to Putin and to the Kremlin and to the rich guys, that's the oligarchs of Russia. We're finding that his allies, well, what did we just find out in these last few days of this career? Remember, Mr. Flynn was fired. Flynn was fired because they said he lied to the vice president about his relationship with the Russian ambassador. Flynn was deep into Russia. He had been honored in Russia. He'd been paid money. He had contracts in Russia. And so, yes, he lied about his contacts and his association. And so they fired Flynn. The president didn't like that. And so he went to the director of the FBI, Mr. Comey, and he had him in a room. You saw this on television. And there was a meeting, not only with Mr. Comey, but in that room you had the Attorney General, Mr. Sessions, and some others. The president asked everybody to leave the room except Mr. Comey. Comey sat down and he went on with this conversation in ways that he had been trying to talk to him before, and he basically said, why don't you stop that investigation on Flynn? He's a good guy. Why don't you back off of that? That wasn't the first time that he had tried that. But this time, Mr. Comey made notes. He wrote memorandums about what was said and what this president was trying to get him to do. This was unusual for the President of the United States to get the FBI director and tell them to back off of an investigation. And so, Mr. Comey said to him that in so many words, in so many ways, that he would not back off. He basically asked him if he would be loyal to him. That's what the president wanted him to commit to. And he responded, I will be honest. And so because he did not agree that he would be loyal, and he did not agree that he would back off, he fired the FBI director. And of course, in firing him, because he doesn't respect government, he doesn't really understand how it works that well, a lot has resulted from that. The FBI director saw to it that his memorandums became public by getting them leaked to the press, which caused the hiring of the special counsel now, Mr. Mueller. And so the Congress, many of us have all said, in the first place, we needed an independent commission to do this kind of investigation because we knew that based on what we've learned about the past with Nixon, that these firings perhaps could take place and we would not get the kind of investigation that we need. We know that the House Intelligence Committee has not done a good job. It's headed by a man named Nunes. Mr. Nunes is the one who tried to give cover to the president when the president lied and said he had been wiretapped by Obama. And don't forget, Mr. Nunes ran up to the White House with some so-called documents in the middle of the night to try and give cover and prove that somehow Mr. Obama had indeed wiretapped. He had it all confused and he was conflating unmasking with wiretapping. He didn't know what he was doing, just another dumb member of Congress. And so, not only did we have that, they have not done their job. We can't depend on them because they are in charge. They have the majority. And so even when we look at Burr on the Senate side and Nunes on the House side, heading these investigations, we just not can be comfortable that they're willing to do the job. As a matter of fact, it has been remarkable how they have almost been afraid to cross this president. There are some Republicans who don't like what he's doing. Some of them are worried about getting reelected. And if they come from districts where he won in their districts, they're being very careful. But some of them have had enough. And I just think we may have enough of them to turn away from him on what they're trying to do on Obamacare, so that we may be able to kill Obamacare and not pass it if these Republicans are thinking about turning against him on this. So I don't know who they all are, but just so we need 4 or 5 of them, give them a round of applause so you can send the spirit to them.